Welcome to In the Note. This episode is about Jordan Hawkins' fit and role with the current Pelicans roster. So tune in as we break it all down. What's up, Mason? We've had some time to process the Jordan Hawkins pick. Wanted to do a quick little video on how he's going to fit with the roster and what we think his potential role is going to be. So right off the bat, let me ask you, do you feel like Hawkins is a player that is going to break into the rotation this year?
As the roster currently stands, my answer would be no. But I wouldn't be surprised if there are some moves around the edges to make that more realistic. Maybe you trade a guy down the rotation and get him elevated, or at least make him like one injury away. But I mean, yeah. So I don't really think so. But I think a situation can be created where he does get opportunities, and I think that's what you want personally. You want to have him in a situation where if he is asked to step up, he can. But I don't know if you want to be relying on him in year one as a rotation member. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's unlikely. To be honest, I think historically this staff has not been kind to rookies, even outside of Herb Jones. Every single Pelicans player that they've selected as a rookie has had to wait a significant amount of time to break into the rotation and earn their spot. Dyson Daniels got a quicker introduction given the Pelicans' severe injury situation. And even then, he was put on ice towards the back half of the season, losing minutes to Josh Richardson and Najee. So that was certainly interesting regarding Dyson. We all know how Trey's situation has played out over the last 2 years. Jose, again, did not break into the rotation until, there was injury to Kyra. There was a dearth of guards, and just it was a late season type of thing. So I think you're right that the circumstances would have to match up and line up for Hawkins to break into the rotation. I would be, however, proactively looking to move Najee. Unfortunately, perhaps even Kyra to accommodate Dyson and Hawkins and give them clear pathways for development. I feel like this team has chosen Jose over Kyra. Obviously, I don't know. It's very unfortunate how that pick's played out, but I think the last thing you want to happen with Hawkins is what happened with Kyra, is you pick him around the same time in the draft, the late lottery, and you don't ever really get him an opportunity to play, and you don't know what you have. And 3 years later, you're making a decision off of a tiny sample.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised to hear you say that regarding Kyra. Maybe it's just an accepting of reality, but I feel like this is the year to at least start off the season. I would like to see Kyra in the rotation regularly. Just you got to figure out what you have, and so I think I prefer not see him moved. Maybe mid season if it's just not working out. But just because I don't think he's got much value as it is right now, and so why not just give him one more shot and don't let the injury be the only story for Kyra Lewis in New Orleans. But they're also, as evidenced by the events of the last 24 hours, they want to win. I mean, the team is put together that is the same way that we saw it last year. So I understand that maybe the nervousness around him, but I would like to see Kyra play over Hawkins at least to start out the season.
Are we both wearing a Herb Jones?
Oh, sure. Yeah, we are.
That's pretty funny. So yeah, I'm with you. I just can't see Willie Green choosing Kyra over Jose in terms of the rotation, and there's not minutes for both those guys and Dyson if you think about it. So that's where I'm at. I do like Kyra better as a prospect, and I think he has more upside than Jose, but I'm not sure it's upside that the Pelicans are willing to experiment with or wait for. But going back to Hawkins, I think with regarding his role, his fit is very clear, very, very evident. We've seen Devontae Graham come in here and be given a sort of green light to launch these threes. Very small sample again with regards to Zion, but briefly we saw an overlap of the two players, and they tried to run it wasn't a huge sample of it, but they tried to run some of the same stuff they ran with JJ Redick, which is the real role that I want to harken back to. Is the Pelicans had a 35-year-old, 36-year-old, I'm not sure, a very old JJ Redick prior to him deciding to just hang up the cleats and just retire for good. There was a stretch during the Stan Van Gundy era, that 2-month stretch where they discovered Point Zion, where they ran inverted ball screens with JJ Redick and Zion, and those things absolutely murdered opposing teams. And again, this was JJ at his probably absolute worst since his rookie year. I would like to hope that Hawkins gives you more than what JJ was providing during that time. And I think at the very least, there's a clear fit with Zion on the court.
Yeah. I think the one thing I mentioned about the overall fit last night after the pick was based the Devontae Graham comparison you made, but kind of the negative side of it of who he plays with. And so I know we just finished talking about how he's probably not going to crack the rotation, but if he does, there are probably certain players he shouldn't be playing with, and namely CJ, just because of the weaknesses on the other end of the ball. I mean, we know most defensive rookies, Herb Jones notwithstanding, even if they have defensive upside and grade out as a plus defender eventually, year one is typically not good learning the NBA game. And Hawkins is not someone who has graded out as a guy who's going to be a plus defender. And you maybe in the team concept, but not really an individual defender. And so if you put him together with Siege in the backcourt, I mean, you've got two guys who are 6'3", 6'4", which isn't terrible. It's not like Devontae, who's 6 foot even, maybe 6 foot even. But it is a situation where you're going to have trouble stopping people and matching up and probably getting abused on pick and rolls. And so I think that you're going to have to find situations, and you can do it based on how you stagger Zion. But I agree with you. I want to maximize whatever minutes he gets. Maximize with Zion, probably in bench units. It'd be awesome to see him out there with Trey and Zion, just create a bunch of spacing for him. Because that's really, as we think about how to construct this team around Zion, what I want to see is those bench lineups throw as much shooting alongside Zion as possible. Obviously, in the starting lineups, you're probably going to see Herb there still. You may even have a couple players who are not really plus shooters. I want to flood the opponents with shooting and Zion on those bench units. And so I think Hawkins gives you the chance to do that.
Yeah, well said. Because if you're going to put defensive, I don't want to say liability, that's a harsh word, but question marks out on the court, you might as well try to overwhelm the other team with offense. And I think the Pelicans team has a tendency to kind of limit the number of defensive liabilities they put out there, but not limit the number of offensive liabilities they put out there. And I really do think the role
screamed about it all year last season
be flipped. And I think if you this lineup probably gives up 3 million points per possession, but it's gonna score 4 million. So I'm thinking, you put Jordan Hawkins out there, you put CJ out there, you put Trey out there, you put Zion out there, and then you put Brandon out there. Okay, have fun.
Okay,
have fun. You got 3 shooters, elite shooters. Brandon's a good shooter, and I encourage him to take more. And then you got Zion. Just have fun. Just put that out for hit the turbo button for 3 minutes, just 3 minutes at the end of maybe the first quarter or the beginning of the second quarter, and then you'll put in your know-hows that you love to play. But I would like to see that, and I think that Hawkins should be played in conjunction with other shooters rather than be used to mask non-shooters. That is how I would go about it, and I think I am a little bit optimistic about his defensive viability in the league. I think he needs to put on weight, but I think the best thing about him is that he actually competes. And I think at his size, he'll be a decent point of attack / chase defender. I do think in the long term, obviously this season, you can't really change much. In the long term, the goal should be that he is the smallest player on the court, and there's not other multiple small players sharing the court with him. Yeah. So Here's a question for you before we end this video. Who do you think attempts more 3-pointers this season, knowing that Hawkins is probably not going to get the minutes? Herb Jones or Hawkins?
Oh, Herb Jones. Absolutely,
Really?
Herb Jones.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and I think that's going to be like, I don't know how I don't really remember what the focus was for Herb year 1, year 2, but you have to assume that just camping out in the corner in the offseason and shooting like 100 corner 3-pointers a day all offseason. Like, I'm not saying I expect Herb to be suddenly a good 3-point shooter, but I think he's going to get the shots just like he did last season. And so priority number one for him is to learn to try to get to average, and so I still think he's going to have a pretty reasonably high volume, just given the amount of minutes he's going to play.
Okay, I'll change that to Dyson and Jordan Hawkins.
I'll take Jordan Hawkins in that one.
Okay, fair enough. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. These were quick thoughts regarding Hawkins' fit on the team.